Good morning. Can people hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. I hope now has come.
Not all.
Not all. They will find us. Okay. Today we want to begin something which is also very important. That is, we want to deal with database management. And that we are going to use Access to get introduced to database management. We shall come back to some features in Excel after we have learned some features in Access, because the two work hand in hand. So I want to introduce database management using Access, and that's why I put this lecture online, such that everybody is capable of seeing what I'm doing. So I assume you have laptops that end, and I assume you are going to be doing whatever I'm doing. Database management, since you are computer students, you are still going to have that course unit, and even you have database programming. You'll be using various programming languages. But now we are just going to be introduced to database visual, which is basically not coding, but we are going to use visuals. And we are going to come up with a database, a simple database. Say, for example, you may want to design a database for a school. You may want to design a database for an organization. We are going to look at certain terms which are used in databases. And basically, database is all about storing data of a given organization. We store this data electronically, not in files. However, this data which you store, you can be able to delete this data. You can be able to update this data. You can be able to add more data. And you can be able to query the data or to question the database to retrieve what you want to get from it. So all these things we are going to see, and we are going to learn a lot of terminologies in creating databases. So the database application we are going to use is Microsoft Access. It is a starting point, but with time, you'll be able to do programming and so on and so forth. So we are going to open Access. We are going to open Access. You can open Access. Let me share my screen. Can everybody see my screen? Can you see my screen?
Yes, I'm seeing.
Okay. When you open Access, so the first thing you have to do is to create a new database. We have so many inbuilt databases which you can use. We have templates there, but we are not going to use those ones. So we are going to create a database from scratch. And our database, we are going to create a database for a school. So we are going to click on blank database because we don't need a template. So we click on blank database. Then we click on new. So new, blank database. So automatically we are going to be prompted to give that database a name. Just a minute, someone is calling me. Hello? Okay, we continue. So blank database, the first thing we do is to give it a name, okay? So Access automatically is going to give it a name, but we don't need that name. We need a name that we are going to always remember. Also, if I have a folder, I want to put it because Access, now Access here shows it's going to put it in under folder, it's going to put it under documents, okay? But it is good practice to create your own folder and then put your work inside that folder, okay? So you can browse and then you look for a folder, say, I'm going to the desktop there. I'm going to put it under a folder called linear. So I'll select that folder, linear. Then I'm going to give it a file name. So the file name I'm going to call it, let me call it Nkumba University. So I'm calling it Nkumba University. Then I'm going to say, okay. So as you see here, the database name is Nkumba University and the extension is that one of Microsoft Access. And it's on the desktop under a folder called linear. So I'm going to click on create. Okay. The moment I click create, I am given that interface. Let me hope everybody is able to reach that stage. I want to go
sir.
very slowly so that people can understand these things. Do you have laptops that side?
Yes, we're using some.
Okay, so I assume everybody has reached that stage. If you have a question, you
Yes.
can put it in the chat room. If you have a question, you can put it in the chat room. So when we come to this stage, as you can see up there, the name of the database is up. We have the ribbon, which has the tools which we are going to use. We have the menu bar, which we are going to use to navigate and create our database. But on the left here, we have a panel which says tables. And there is table 1. Now, Access looks almost similar like Excel. Remember, in Excel, data is organized in tables. So Access also organizes data in tables. And this is where we get the name structured programming. So I know you are doing structured programming. So structured programming meaning that a program is written as a structure that it follows. So the structure we are following is a table structure, whereby we have columns and we have rows. Now, unlike Excel, whereby columns are given letter numbers A, B, C, D, and so on, in Access, columns are not even referred to as columns, but are referred to as fields. In Access, we don't use the term columns, but we use fields. And each field is given a label. So very soon we are going to label the fields here. So each field is given a label. Again, in Access, unlike Excel, Excel talks of rows with the numbers 1, 2, 3, and so on. Access also has rows. But Access, instead of using the term rows, it uses records. So in Access, we have records. And a record represents a unique data into your database. A record represents a unique data into your database. Let me unshare this screen now, and I show you another screen. Okay. This is what? So we want a database like this one, which can capture ID. Now, remember, these are now referred to no longer columns, but in Access, we refer to these as fields. So we have a field for ID, then we have a field for first name, we have a field for last name. I'm going to call it L name. Then we have a field for school, date of birth, we can also capture the email. We can capture the telephone of the student. Okay, now let me remove these ones because we don't need them. Now, we are creating a database. We are going to do this in Access. We are going to create this database. Now, when you look at this table, okay, it has headers, and these are fields. Okay, these are fields. So here it was easy. I typed them the way you see, like this. But in Access, we don't do it that way. So we are going to see how we can create such a table in Access. And this table now is ready for a user to enter ID and so on and so forth. So that is what we are going to see how it is done in Access. Okay. So a table The first thing you have to do in Access is to give your table a name. As we have said, data in Access is organized into tables. So the first table we are going to create is the table that has student data. The first thing the table we need in our database now is to capture data of a student. That's what we need. So we are going to come to this table, which is table 1. Then we are going to save it. We are going to save it by either clicking on the save button or pressing Ctrl S on your keyboard. So it is going to ask you for a table name. And the table name, we are going to call it student. Now, in Access, we don't separate two words. After that, we have written student space, then data. Okay? So this is not acceptable. It has to be one word. Just a minute, someone again is calling. Okay, I'm back. We are saying in Access, we don't separate these, okay? So instead, after one word is finished, now I want to write student data. So I start the second word with a capital letter, okay? Or if I don't do that, I put an underscore, then I put a second word. So student data, I can either type it like that, or I remove the underscore. So don't put any space between the two words, okay? So I'm going to leave underscore now like that, student data, and I'll click OK. So as you can see, now I have a table for student data. So this table is going to capture the data of the student. Now, in databases, we have what we call data types. Data types. So data type tells which type of data is expected into a field. Say, for example, the field is for tuition. And in that field for tuition, we expect money. So the data type there should be a currency. If the field is for date of birth, we expect there a time, a date. So a data type there is a date. There's sometimes you have filled you have gone to the internet and you are filling certain forms. When you put the wrong data, it will refuse because you have put the wrong data. So we are going to see how this is programmed such that a user captures the correct data according to a field. And this is called assigning data types. So we are going to assign now data types to our table. And we are going to give each field here a label. So to do this, we come to the Home tab. Now under the Home tab, we have this Views. So you click on View. So we have two types of views. We have Datasheet view and Design view. So the Datasheet view is currently what we are in. When you are in Datasheet view, it will show you the data. But Design view, that's where you are going to design your fields from. So here now we go to Design view. So we click Design view. Under Design view, we have the field name we have the data type, and we have the description. I'm going to explain this. We have the field name, data type, and description. Now, the field name, remember in the other Microsoft Word I showed you, field name, those are the titles which are given to the fields or the columns, the titles. So the first column here is ID. But I'm going to change this to give it a name which is student ID. Student ID. Okay. Remember, we are not putting any space in between the two words. So I'm using a dash, underscore, or if I don't use underscore, I don't put any space, but I begin with a capital letter. Now, what type of data is expected? Data type. So in this column for student ID, which type of data is expected? So the type of data which is expected here, if I click here, Access gives us different data types to choose from. Different data types to choose from. Now we have auto number. Auto number, that means the user cannot enter the ID. The system automatically assigns an ID. But if I want to assign an ID myself, then I can choose short text. But if I want a system to automatically develop the ID, I will choose auto number. So let us leave the ID to auto number. Then description. Description, as you can see, it is optional. You may not put it. But if you want to put a description only helps the user who's going to use your database to know what type of data is expected at that time. So, for example, I can put a description. Then I say system will. Now here, I'm free to put spaces because it's just a normal text description. So system will generate ID automatically. So here I'm helping my users not to struggle. Then I go to the second. So the second field, I expect a first name. I expect a first name. So when I come to data type, so which type of data is expected here? Okay. I may
Short text.
Short text.
Short text.
Yeah. So short text. But now I want to restrict the number of characters a name can have. Okay. When you look down here, field size is 255. Okay. So I may want to restrict a name. I don't want any name which exceeds 12 characters. So if person enters any name which exceeds 12 characters, it will not be accepted. Then I'm going to press enter. So I'm going to put a description here, enter a name that doesn't exceed 12 characters. Okay. Then I'll go to my last name. Now this time I'm going to use error name. I'm going to use an abbreviation for error name. Again, short text. Again, I'm going to limit the last name Let me limit it to 15 characters. Now, because my user may not understand what error name means, I have used an abbreviation. By the way, you are free to use whatever you want, but as long as you describe what you want here. So my user may not understand what error name means. So I'm going to help my user to know, and I say enter last name. So I'm helping my user to know what is expected. Then I'm going to put the date of birth. So date of birth, what data type do you expected here?
Date and time.
So date and time. So we expect date and time. Now you see the date of birth, I'm not putting any dots there. The moment you put these dots, Access will not run, it will refuse them. So just leave it at that. Don't put date, then you put dot, this dot. It will refuse them. So date of birth, date of time. So this time I'm not going to enter anything here. But if you want, you can describe, enter date. Okay. Then we are going to put the telephone number. Now, telephone number, which data type do we choose here? Telephone number, which data type do you use?
I mean, it can be numbers or short text.
Now you take which one? Now which one is which? Numbers, short text.
Number.
Number. Now that is a mistake. If
I
I
put short text.
if I put number, if I put number, now access. You remember also in Excel, a number cannot begin with a 0. You remember that? In Excel, the moment you put a 0, it automatically removes the 0.
Okay.
So if we put number, now the moment you put number, the 0 will be removed. But remember, a telephone number begins with 0. So that's why we are going to call it a short text such that it accepts the first 0. Are we together?
We are together.
And we are going to limit it to 10 digits because we don't have any number which exceeds 10 digits. So limit it to 10 digits. Okay? But remember, if you are going to use calculation, we shall see calculations later. So if you have a field like for quantity, we shall see. There and there you have to use a number. But a telephone number is not going to be calculated, so it can be taken as a text. Then we come to email. We want to capture the email of the student. So which data type do we expect there?
Email is short text.
I think email, we can make it a long text because email is usually long. Eh? Some emails are long and we are not going to limit it to a size. Okay? We can also leave it at short text, but we don't limit it to a size. Okay? Because some emails are long. Then we want the tuition of the student. The tuition. Now, which data type are we going to give?
Currency.
Currency.
Yeah.
It is what?
Currency.
Currency.
So it is a currency. Then you want to know whether this student is male or female. Okay? But this time,
Yes.
so we are going to put gender. We are putting gender. But we want this student to choose from male, or we don't want a person to type in. We want to choose from either female or male. Okay? So which data type are we going to use?
Lookup wizard.
So we are going to
Yes,
look
no.
for, no, I'm going to show you what the yes, no does. So we are going to use a lookup wizard. Okay?
Yes.
The moment we click on lookup wizard, it is going to bring this dialog box. Okay.
Mm.
And under the dialog box, the conversation that side, I don't know whether people are following or they are chatting their own things. You IT people, it's good you learn these things. This is what you are going to do in the industry, okay?
Yes.
Is what you are going to do in the industry. Many organizations need these databases. So I'm going to choose, I will type in the values myself, okay? Then I'm going to click next.
Yes.
So the first value I want a person to choose from is female,
F M.
F. Then the second value is M for male,
F.
okay?
Mm.
Then I'm going to click next.
Next.
Then I'll click finish. Okay. So I want to know whether this student is on the bursary. Okay. So I'm going to include a column for bursary.
Uncle, to the speed, uncle.
Banana.
Please let us use English. We have
You
people in the
are
group who don't
taking
know.
us to 10 master, please.
And let us use proper English. Let us not use jargon English. We are university students. Don't say you are taking us to 10. Okay. I'm recording this lecture where you have to go back to my YouTube channel and follow it step by step. Everything is being recorded.
Okay,
You'll
sir.
go back step by step. But don't forget to
Okay.
subscribe. Some of you are just watching and you're not subscribing. You
Hey.
don't just watch. You click the subscription button. Okay? You subscribe. You never know when that marker will count on your attendance. Okay? If people in America are subscribing, then you at Nkumba, why are you not subscribing? Okay, let's continue. So we have bursary here, and we are saying we want to know whether this student is on bursary or not. So now there the option is either yes or a what? A no. Okay. So the data type we are going to choose here is what?
Yes or no?
Yes or no. Okay.
Mm.
We may also want to capture a photo of the student, passport photo. So we may want to capture the photo of a student. So which data type are we going to choose that will capture a photo?
Photo.
Which data type is what?
Attachment, sir.
It is attachment, right?
Attachment.
Attachment.
All right, just
Yes.
a minute. Just a minute, I'm getting back to you.
Okay.
We are totally lost. Gwe namudde odda mpulira gwasinga okwogera sokodde mmonya kali akantu ka genda maani. Tandika mpulire.
Omusajja agambye yagenda ku YouTube
Tukoleyo ki?
osubscribinge olabe byasomesezza
Nga togenze.
anti nze mbitegedde.
Nanti bakyali recordinga tebanaba ku uploadinga.
Kati lindamu ba uploadinge.
But guys, why are you using this local language too much like this? Most of us, we don't know the language. You speak in English.
Tuli mu kuvuma gwe kyoba
Everyone with his problems.
Why would you want to bring your personal problem to a place of international students?
For us, we don't know English. You keep quiet and wait for the lecturer
Why
to
are you here in
interpret.
school if you don't know English?
To
If you
waste
don't know
money.
English, who told you to do this?
Ntonzaffe yatalawo.
Now, who told you to be linguistically disabled? That's the problem.
But guys, remember this lecture has been recorded. Where?
Use English, but that everyone will be able to understand. Style up.
We don't want.
That's why you can remain behind.
You people, you're disturbing. The lecturer knows those people who are disturbing. So be quiet.
It's all about getting the content. And it's not all about
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Give me a lion. He just smiled to Nkumba.
Okay, I'm back. Some of you are using Luganda, please. Those of you are using Luganda, this is not allowed. The Luganda is not allowed. Those of you who are using Luganda, you can use it elsewhere in your discussions when you are with only the Baganda. But as long as we are in class, Luganda is not allowed. Okay? If you can't speak English, you keep quiet. Okay, let's continue the class. So we are asking ourselves, which data type do we use for a photo? We want to capture a photo.
Using attachment, sir.
Attachment? No, attachment is when you want to attach a document. Say, for example, if you have a proposal to attach, if you have an application letter to attach, that's when you use attachment.
What about the OLE object?
So for the photo, we use the OLE object. Okay. That is one which we use for the photo. But if the photo is stored inside a PDF file, then there you can use attachment.
I have a question.
Yes?
What does OLE mean?
OLE.
Because it's abbreviated.
You'll Google that. You'll Google that one. Also, I don't know what it means. I have never bothered. But you can check on Google what it means.
Master, is it explained on your YouTube channel?
The what?
The OLE. Yeah, do you have a video that explains it?
The video for this lecture is recorded. Even you yourself who is asking, you'll hear yourself when you are asking. Okay? Even the one who has laughed, you'll hear yourself when you are laughing. So we choose that object. Now, after all that, you are going to notice something up here. Do you see notice a small key up here?
Yes.
Do you see that small key? Now that small key is called a primary key. As you can see, a primary key. Okay. I can change that primary key and I change that key to another column. Okay. I can change it to any other column. Okay. So what does the primary key mean? A primary key is that unique identifier row in your database, which uniquely identifies a record in the database. So a primary key uniquely identifies a record in a database. Now and again, as you do database programming, you are going to deal with the primary keys. I can give you an example of Nkumba University. Your student number makes you unique. You may have, say, 10 girls called Namudu Esther. Okay? You may have 10 girls who are called Namudu Esther. But now, what uniquely identifies these Namudu Esthers to mean that that's not the one I want is the student number. But if I just say, God call for me Namudu Esther, you may bring one and I say, that's not a girl I want. Then you go back. You bring another, I say, that's not a girl I want. And then you're going to say, now who do you want exactly? So now the student number, the moment I tell you, Namudu Esther with the foreign student number, now that student number makes a proper identification of the person. Are we together? So here, when you are assigning a data type, so here we are going to choose our student number as the primary key. So it means only that number in the database cannot be repeated. The first name can be repeated, last name can be repeated, date of birth can be repeated, but the student number must be unique. It cannot be repeated. So here we are setting the student number as the primary key. Okay? But you can also change any other record to make it a primary key. So let us leave it at student number as the primary key. So after that, we are going to save again our data by clicking on the save button or pressing Ctrl S. After saving the data, then you are going to go back to the view button, and this time you are going to choose datasheet view. So you can see now how our table has come up. So we have succeeded to assign data types our table. So the fields now are clearly labeled. So that is the first table we have created. That first table has student data. Now we are going to create a second table. And this table is going to capture the courses at Nkumba University. Which courses a student has to choose from. Now, when you come to the bursary here, you can see we have an option to choose from yes or no. Okay? When it is ticked, it means yes, he has a bursary. When it's not ticked, it means that person has no bursary. Tick means yes. When it's not ticked, no bursary. Again, when you come to gender, you have option for female or choose male. Remember, the lookup wizard we did, that's what it does. You can choose from female or you can choose from male. Bursary, you can tick yes or not. Remember the yes or not, which we did for bursary. Now we are going to create another table, which is going to store the courses at Nkumba University. Someone saying, how come on my PC under tuition, I'm seeing $sign. That's okay. We shall see how to change that. Okay. Now for me, I have US shillings. Okay, let me show you how you can change the currency symbol. So if you come back to view, in datasheet view, so that's where you can change it from. We have the tuition there, currency. So you come to currency format there. So I want to turn it to UGX. So I'm going to put UGX, then hash, comma. So I'm going to save that. So you can see it has changed now. So whoever says I have dollars, you can change. You are free now to change to put a currency. What? I hope your people have known what I have done. Is it clear? Or I repeat?
Repeat.
Repeat.
Okay, let me repeat. Just a minute, someone is calling me here.
Sajanywa chai. Wewe nange bandeetereyo kabubuuti.
You said if you don't subscribe, it's going to stop your mic. You don't subscribe, so wait, come on. You?
Okay, I'm back. So I wanted to repeat this. I said to change, always come back to datasheet design view, because that's where we do our designs from. So you come back to design view. Then you click where there is currency. After selecting where is currency, you come down here. So you begin with the currency which you need. Say, for example, I want US dollars. So I can put USD. Then I'm going to put a hash, then a comma, then hash 3 times. Then I'm going to press enter. Then I will save. After saving, then I go back to datasheet view. So, the dollar is inbuilt. That's why it's not bringing it. Something added itself. Okay. So we put Yugi X, which is not inbuilt. Then hash, comma, then we save. So it has changed. You see, people want to submit work. That's now those are the phone calls I'm getting. Everybody, students want a deadline to work on the deadline date. Okay. So we are now going to create another table. That is one table created. We are going to create another table, which is going to capture the course units at Nkumba University. So we are going to come to create. So anytime you want to create a new table, you come to create, then table. So a new table has come. Again, we are going to save that table to give it a name. And the name we are going to call it courses. So we are going to call that table courses. Okay. Again, we open. Now, when you look here at the tabs, if I want to go back to the student data, I click there. If I want to go to the table for courses, so the tables are listed here. As you create more tables, you see them getting listed. So now the active table is the table for courses. Then I go back to design view. So I can also now design it. So here I'm going to post course ID. Course ID.
Name come.
Okay. Then I'm going to put the name, course name. If I told you if you can't use English, don't speak. Okay. Let us behave. If you can't speak English, you keep quiet. We have students here from South Sudan who don't know English, who don't know Uganda. Okay. The only language accepted in class is English. Other languages, you will use them elsewhere. I don't want to penalize people by removing you from the class. But if you force me, I will do that. Someone saying repeat, I don't know to repeat what. Okay. So course name is a short text. Then the year. The year. Now the year I'm going to choose number. Okay. I'm going to use a number for the year. Then semester. Semester again, I'm going to use number. Now I'm putting number because I don't want person to type there semester one, those things. I just want a person to put one. If someone types something which is not a number, it will refuse it. Okay?
Mm.
Then we are going to put credit units. Credit units. As you see, description is optional. If I want, I put. If I don't want, I leave it. So credit units, again, I'm going to put number. Okay? So I'm going to save this table. I'm going to save. Then I'm going to datasheet view. So as you can see, this table is also created for the courses. Okay. I'm going to create another table. And this table is going to capture only the student payments. So it's going to capture only the student payments now. Okay. So I'm going to call this one payments. Payments. As you study in databases, you see that it's better to create various tables, capture various data than putting all the data into one table. As much as you can put it into one table, but it's better to do it this way, to create tables which capture data according to what you want to achieve. So we create payments. Again, we are going to design the payments table. So the first one is going to be a payment ID. Payment ID, which is going to be an auto number. Then we are going to look at the tuition. Remember this tuition paid. We are going to create a column for tuition paid. We want to know how much this person pays. So the tuition, and we are going to call this one a currency. Remember, is a currency. But remember, students can pay in installments. Students can pay in installments. So we want to capture these installments. And we are going to make it in such a way that a student can pay only in 2 installments. So we are going to make it such a way student pays in 2 installments. So we are going to have installment 1, installment 1, and that is also going to be a currency. Okay. Then we are going to have installment 2, which is also a currency. Okay. Then we are going to have the balance. Okay. We want to know the balance of the student. So how do we get the balance now? Because we want the system to calculate the balance automatically. We don't want a person to type there the balance. We want the system to automatically calculate the balance. Okay. So there the data type is calculated what? We choose a calculated field. Okay. That is a data type. Are we together? So the moment I click on calculated, Access is going to bring a dialog box where I'm going to type the formula. Now, Access formulas are not like Excel formulas. Remember in Excel, we used to begin a formula with the equal sign. But in Access, that's not the case. So in Access, we do formulas using square, curly brackets. I'm not using round brackets, square, curly brackets. So I'm going to type, the balance will be tuition paid. Now mark the spelling. If you don't put the exact spelling, you don't put exactly what you put there is what you type here. If you don't put exact spelling, you'll be in trouble. So we are going to put tuition with underscore, tuition paid. Then we close that. So tuition paid minus, again we put curly brackets. So tuition paid minus installment 1. The spelling has to be exact. If it's not, it is going to refuse to run. So minus installment 1, again minus, again minus installment 2. Remember, the spelling is very, very important. So again minus installment 2. So we have achieved what we want. So the balance will be tuition. The tuition a person is supposed to pay minus the first installment minus the second installment. Okay. Then we are going to click OK. So after, we are going to save and then run our table. So that is it. We can change this to UG shillings, can go back and change it to UG shillings. So currency, you come there, then you have UGX hash, comma, then hash 3 times. Then you go to the next one. Also is UGX, then hash, comma, hash 3 times. Then you come to this one also, UGX, hash, okay. So then you can run. Now, if you forgot to save, it is going to notify you that you must first save the table. So if you forgot to save, then you are going to say yes. So I have changed it all to UGX now. Someone is asking something in the chat room. So I repeat the formula for balance. You'll watch the video later and you'll see.
And it's refusing to save.
Okay, let me show you. If it is refusing to save, you made a mistake. Check your spellings. Remember, I told you the spellings. Okay? You make sure you have the correct spelling for tuition paid. If I told you, if you miss anything in the spelling, that is a problem. Okay? So balance. Let me call this one now balance 2. And we said it is a calculated field. Okay? First of all, it must be square brackets. That is the first rule. So whoever it is refusing to save, do you have square brackets?
Yes.
So you open the bracket, but square bracket. Now this spelling here, okay? Don't miss out any letter.
It says that
Says what?
it has failed to save because it says that it could not find field statement 1. Installment 1, sorry.
Yeah, because in your table there you don't follow what you have in your table, not in mine. For me, I don't know what you have in your table.
It is there.
Now, how did you type installment 1 with a capital letter or small letter? I told you exactly how you typed it here. Is how you type it here. Even it can bring you these things down there, like you sit down. So it's a matter of just clicking. Now I click on. If I double click that one, it comes. Okay. It must be exact. Okay. Then minus. installment 1, then minus installment 2. The spelling has to be exact. If it is capital letters, you put it exactly the way it is on the other side. Has it worked?
Nope.
Okay.
Someone is saying, okay, so for someone it has worked, but there's a girl who's saying no. Check, I'm not on your computer there. I don't know what you have typed. You are the one who knows what you have typed. Or you want to share your screen and we see. Who is saying no? I'm hearing a girl saying no. Who is that one?
It's me who was saying no.
Now it is you, the who.
It's an emoji.
Has it worked?
It has failed. I'll repeat it later.
Do you want to share with us your screen? Oh,
I will repeat it later.
but okay. Okay, let's continue. Now I'm going to delete this one. I don't need it. This row here. I don't need it. So I'll select it. Then I come to delete rows. So you can delete the rows. I may also have forgotten a row somewhere. So I select, then I come to insert rows. So I can insert a row. But I'm going to delete that one because I don't need it. So that's what we have. Now we are having 3 tables. But remember, each table has an ID, okay? When you look at each table has an ID. And that ID, we called it the primary key, which is the unique identifier in the database, the primary key. Now, we have 3 tables. The question is, how can we know that the student so and so is the one who has made the payment? Okay? How do you know that the student so and so is taking this course? Okay? So there, we are going to do what we call relationships. We are going to create relationships among the tables. So to create relationships, we use what we call the primary key. Now, this primary key, as long as it is within that table. Now, student ID here, under the student table is a primary key. But we are going to use this student ID. We are going to use this student ID to refer to a student in the payments. So that means we are going to pick this primary key, the student ID, and take it to the table for the payments. But when it gets there, it will no longer be a primary key. So this time it will be called a foreign key. It will be called a foreign key because that's not the table it belongs to. But we are going to use this primary key to link these 2 tables. So I'm going to go to the table for student data. For payments, table for payments. Then I'm going to go back to the design. Then I'm going to include another row. And that row, I'm going to type exactly the way it is on the other side. So I have to type it exactly this spelling. If I change, things will not work. So I'm going to type it exactly as it is. So okay. Now when I come here, I'm going to leave it at short text. It cannot be auto number here because we can have only one primary key. So this is now a secondary key. and I'm going to save. So you can see that column has come. But I also want to link the courses. I want to link the courses also to the students. So I'm going to go to the courses table. Also, I'm going to include there another column, which is for the student ID. So I'm going to include another column for student ID. And I'm going to leave it at short text. So I will save that. Okay. But still, the relationship is not created yet among these tables. It's not yet created. So if I want to create a relationship among the tables, people are quiet. I don't know if they have understood these things. I don't know whether I'm going too fast.
No.
We are following.
I'm not so fast.
No.
For you, you may say no, but when another one is crying. Okay. Okay, let us create the relationship now for these tables. So you come to table, okay? You come to table, then you come to relationships.
Relationships.
Okay? So I want to create a relationship between these tables. Okay? So I double click on the tables. I want to create a relationship. Now, when you look here, I have, let me do like this. So I have student ID here and I have student ID. So it means I can create a relationship between these two tables now. Okay? Then I'm going to say create. Again, I have student ID, so I can create a relationship between these two tables. Then I'm going to create a relationship. Okay? You can put it the way you want. You'll see these diagrams in database as you go ahead. We call this a database schema. Okay? So you will see them as we go ahead. These terms, when you do database programming, they will come back to you. But here, I'm just introducing you. Okay?
Yes.
So these are called entity relationship diagrams. In database programming, you see what they call entity relationship diagrams. So I've created a relationship between these tables now. Okay? So these tables now can talk with each other using the student ID. Okay? But I'm going to also try to create a relationship. Now, see, if I do this and I do this. So, you see, again, I've created another relationship between those tables. Okay? Someone is putting in the chat room something. You are too fast, please. Yeah. You know, sometimes when you are driving a car, you forget that you have to accelerate a bit. Because I'm dealing with the IT people. In any case, I have recorded everything. I urge you to make groups and discuss these things. These are very, very important things in your course. Very, very important. Okay, so after I'm going to click close. So do you want to save the changes? Yes, I want to save the changes. Remember, I told you every time you have to save, okay?
Yes.
So I save the changes. Now I have linked my tables. So we go to the second stage. So the first stage, we have created our tables. Now, we want to help a user enter data into these tables. And there we are going to create what is called forms. Now, forms are used to enter data into the database. So we are going to first create a form for the student data, which is going to help a user enter data into this database. Let me first delete these records which are already there so that we have an empty set. So you click on the record, then you click delete. Click on the record, then you click delete. So that's how we delete them. Okay. So we are going to create a form which a user will use to enter data into this database. So we come to create. Remember, we are creating a table, creating a form. So that term to create, that's why we got for this word. So create. So what do we want to create? We want to create a form. I will later on teach you how to design your own forms, but let us first use a form wizard. But later on, I will teach you how to make your own forms. So create a form. So a form comes like this, and this form comes under 3 designs. We have form view, layout view, and design view. Okay. So now it is, if you go to design view, looks like that. And design view can help you. For example, this is a student data form. I can change that word to call it entry form. Okay. I can put here a logo. If I have a logo of the organization, say for example, if I have the logo of Nkumba University, I can put it there. I can also change the colors to give it any color I want. I can even make it bold. You can even increase the size. All these now Microsoft Word things. Yeah. Let me make it size 20. You can even put it in the center. You can even change the background color to any color you want. Let me make this one white. Okay. All these are Microsoft Word features. Okay. So layout view, you see what I have changed is that. Now, after you save this form, so Control S to save it. Now I'm going to call it student data form. And I'm going to click OK. Now you see on the left here, at first we had tables. Now we have forms. Okay. We had tables, now we have forms. We are going to also create another form for the payments. So we come to payments, then we say create, then form. So again, we save that form. I'm going to call it payment form. Then okay. So again, you see under forms, I have created a payment form. Then I have courses. I also want to use a form which is going to be used to enter the courses. So I come to create, then form. Again, I save. So this one, I'm going to call it course form. Then okay. So after creating my forms, now I can start entering data using these forms. Let me begin by the student data form. Now I want to enter data here, but as you can see, I can't type anything there. Okay. I can't type anything there, yet I want to enter data. So I have to go back to the views here, okay? So under layout view, you cannot enter data. Under the design view, we saw you just change the appearance of your form. But we need the form view. It is what we use to enter data. So the moment I click form view, you can see now the cursor has come, I can enter. So I can enter first name, Pato. As you can see, already the system gives him student ID 3. Because remember, we had put the other IDs at first. So first name, Kato, Bob, then date of birth. As you can see, automatically the system reads for me where to select a date from. So I can select a date of birth. Then telephone, put a telephone number. Now, as you remember, have you heard that noise? So if I put a number which exceeds the 10, you see it cannot accept because we limited it to 10. Okay, remember we limited it to 10. So even the name here, if I put a name which exceeds 12,
12.
It will refuse. You can see it can't continue. Okay, because we limited it to 12. Then email, can also put the email. Then the tuition, we put how much is expected. Now, is that person on a bursary or not? It's on a gender. Tuition, as you can see, it has converted it to UGX. You remember we put UGX. So, gender, we have to select whether male or female. Okay. Then is the person on a bursary? If yes, we tick. Then we can attach a photo if we need. Now I'm not going to attach any photo. Then after, we are going to click, press enter, okay? To go to the next record. So that record has been captured. Then you go to another name, you enter. Then date of birth, you select. You put the telephone number. Email. Then tuition. Gender. Bursary, no. So you go to the next one and so on. Now down here, it is showing you the records so far entered, okay? Now, let us go back to open the student table and we see if exactly that data has been going there. So we double click on the student data. Actually, when you see here, it appears nothing has come in, nothing has entered, okay? So to see the data, we go back to the view, then we design view, then we are going to say yes, okay? Then we go back to data sheet view. So you can see the data which I have been entering now is appearing. Okay. Let me unshare this screen and I show you another screen which has a database I have already designed for a certain organization. And we see these things into play. Let me unshare this. Share the wrong screen. Okay. This is a database which I have already designed for certain organization using Access. So I'm going to double click to open it. So now this one, I designed it in such a way that you can't log in unless you have a username and a password. If time allows, we shall see all those things. So unless you have a username and a password, you cannot enter. So I'm going to put in. Let me hope I still remember the password. I don't even remember the password I put there now. Okay. So this is a database, as you can see it. Okay. So it has tables, as we have seen. So it is managing a Catholic parish. It is managing a Catholic parish. As you can see, it has a table which manages the baptisms. Then it has a table which deals with the cat. Sorry?
I am not
You are not
seeing the
seeing.
table.
You are not seeing what?
The
You are not
tables.
seeing. You are not seeing my screen. The
Your
tables on the,
tables.
you don't see the tables. Baptism. You don't see them on the left.
On the left, which side? Which side?
Anyway, let me share again. Even what? Can you see them now? On the sides?
Yes.
You can see them. So these are the
Yes.
tables. You can see all of these tables. I have a table which manages the baptism. Those of you who are not Catholics, you may not understand this thing. But those who are Catholics, you can understand them. So I have a table here. Someone's putting something in the chat room. He's saying yes. Okay. So we have a table that manages baptism, that manages the catechism, the church fee, that money which you pay to the church, then confirmation. We have a database, then expenses. So this one manages the expenses, pastoral communion. All of these are tables, okay? But these tables also have forms. As you can see, this is a form that manages if someone wants to enter the baptism. So that is the form he uses. If you have to enter pastoral communion, that is the form you use. Okay? If you have to enter the priests, that is what all these are forms. Okay? However, we can also make a simple welcome screen for the user to be able to, so such that if a person wants to enter baptism, the moment you click on that, it will take you to the form for baptism. Okay? It will take you to the form for baptism. If you want to enter the offertory, and as you can see, the offertory has a calculated field, which calculates something to return. Okay? So that is, I'm just showing you how you can make money using these things. You see, just creating such a database in Access can earn you money, okay? Can earn you some money. So we are not studying these things to leave them in class. We are studying to use them in the real field. Your IT people, these are the things that you are going to do. And these are the things that are going to earn you money outside your salary, okay? Outside your salary, these are the things that are going to earn you money. So learning them is to your advantage. I want to end here with this lecture unless someone has a question. I'll upload this on the YouTube channel, but please don't forget to subscribe. Don't just watch and you disappear, okay? When you go there, subscribe.
Okay.
If you don't know how to subscribe, ask your friends, they'll help you. Or you can even inbox me and tell me how do I do to subscribe. I will tell you how to do it, okay? Any questions before we leave? Go back in your free time and
Let's
practice
work.
these things, okay?
You can write their name and
Sorry?
Maybe it's depend for us some question for practicing.
Yeah, I will send you questions. That is okay. I'm even going to send you
Okay, thank
some
you.
notes. I'm even going to send you some
sir.
notes concerning this.
Okay.
Okay, I think I can wish you a good day. Those who are at campus, you can now gather into groups and start discussing what we have discussed. I'm going to post this shortly on YouTube so that you can follow it. Someone is putting something in the chat room. Okay, saying you too. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Have a nice
You're going to discuss for yourself.
Have a nice day.